Hey, this is Edison Guzman with Adria Gross of MetWise Insurance Advocacy.
Yeah, that's my company.
Excellent. I of course knew exactly which company it was. I just want to make sure that you knew who you were. All right, so today we're going to talk about something that's on everyone's minds. I mean, like, it has to do with health, of course. And this has to do with anything that has to do with drug plans. Drug plans, where do you get them? Does your company, does your insurance company cover? What type is the best if you don't have the right insurance? Let's go over a whole bunch of different things. So let's talk about first of the types of coverage that you can have for drug plans, and then we'll talk about the types of plans that you can have out there.
You know, most policies do have a drug plan. And depending upon who the insurer is, then they connect you with their drug plan. And that's how it normally works. But then you might have some other plans. Let's say it's a large corporation and they decide that they don't want to cover you for any medication. They can do that if it's a self-funded, self-insured ERISA plan, where you're going to have to pay for all those drugs anyhow. But most plans do have it.
Okay, so you mean to tell me that I can have insurance that doesn't cover that doesn't cover anything at all? No type of drugs?
That's right. They do have plans like that out there. I hate to say it. I mean, look, you can have a plan. I mean, I've seen plans out there that will only cover you for 3 visits a year to a hospital. Or you can you're not even covered for emergency rooms, or you might only be covered twice a year for an emergency room. I'm telling you, some of these plans out there are really crazy. When people call me up and tell me their problem, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes. Well, there are a lot of different things that people are covered and not covered for. Obviously, you have to look at the plan. You tell people to do that all the time.
Right.
But just keeping with the drug plans now, if you're not covered, is there a way that you can pay less for the drug plan itself, or for the actual drug itself?
So what happens a lot when you have a drug plan and they consider that medication to be very expensive, they're going to say, why don't you try this first or try that first? But you know it's not going to work for you. So one of the things I tell people to do is to see if you might be able to get that drug, either go directly to the company that manufactures the drug to see if they'll help you, or maybe you can even go outside the country and get that medication for a much lesser fee than you would ever have to pay here in the United States.
Is this like going to Canada or Mexico or something like that?
Yeah, you can go online and they might ask you for a prescription. Most of them do, especially if you go to Canada. And some of them, I hate to say this, depending upon what drug it is, they might even cover it without a prescription.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay, so do they have different laws and rules there, or is it like they could just give you different things, like a generic type of drug?
Yeah, when you buy those drugs, unless it comes directly from the pharmaceutical company that's manufacturing, they're almost always generic drugs. I've never seen one that's not a generic drug.
Okay, so now can you order things from like Canada, let's say, and then have your insurance cover it? Does that happen?
When you order from out the country, they're not going to cover you. And it's the same thing, like even with when you're traveling, they're not going to cover you for a procedure that you had overseas. And it's the same thing with the medication. But remember one thing. You're going to pay a lot less money for that drug in most cases.
Okay, so instead of paying a deductible, you just pay a lot less money and you get your drugs. I mean, like,
right.
And of course, legal drugs we're talking about, not anything else.
Right.
So, are there any resources online, for instance, that people can go to just so they can get the cheapest type, whether it's generic or brand name, but just lower cost?
Right, and you can right online. You can go to Costco. You might have to pick it up. I think you can order online. You could go to pharmacychecker.com. They've been around a long time. Do some research and see who's selling it and who you can purchase it from.
I know Walmart has some program. Do you know anything about that program where they, you could get it right through Walmart, they package it up for you and all that? And I think Amazon has something similar
And
too.
by the way, let me tell you, they not only will they package it, they'll ship it to you, and some of them even do free deliveries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're really, technology is really helping out right
Yeah.
now. I want to see how artificial intelligence is going to just like make it even better or just kill us all. One of the two. Hopefully make it much better. All right, so anything are there any pros and cons about doing these things, buying it overseas, buying it online, buying it here, getting generic versus, like, what's the best thing you could tell someone to do?
If you can afford it, I always tell people all the time, if you can afford it, try and buy the drug through the pharmacy. The only issue is, and you can go to your doctor, let's say you really need the specific drug, you can't go with the generic drug, you have to go with the original. Talk to your doctor, have them talk to the pharmacy, have them even possibly call the manufacturer, and hopefully they'll be able to help you. But if cost is an issue, and hopefully you can deal with a generic drug, then that would be the best choice.
Okay, great. All right, so I know that when people call you, they usually have medical bills that they need help with and everything else. And is the drug part of the whole conversation that you have with people, or is that something that's normally not an issue?
It's occasional. A lot of times people call me up when they're just having a problem with a medical bill. If they were denied, out of network, overcharged, they can't get the pre-authorization. Today, what I see happening a lot is they're saying, I hate to say this, they're saying it's not medically necessary for you to have a surgery or a procedure. And the other thing I see happening now, which I'm helping people with, is if you are over 65 and you work for a large corporation that has more than 20 insureds, they don't have a right to go back to you and say, we want our money back, you should have been on Medicare. Call me if that happens to you.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are going to call you for a lot of different reasons. So what's one good way to contact you?
Call 845-978-9493 or just go online to www.medicalinsuranceadvocacy.com.
Excellent. All right, Adria. Well, we've covered a lot. There's a lot more stuff to cover. I mean, and one of the things that I'm getting a lot of information from the books that you've written, and we're going to touch on a lot of those things in future videos. But again, you have over 200, maybe 300 videos circulating right now online on YouTube and social and on your own website, medicalinsuranceadvocacy.com, that anyone that needs information could just, you could just find it at any of those locations. But again, if you need to call Adria, that's the best way to reach her. So until next time, I'll see you at the next video.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.